as I was saying, welcome back to OP Poker. We have a very special guest with us today. We have, as you can see, or hopefully as you can see down in the bottom right, the very lovely GJReggie, who's joining us for the first time here on stream. How are you doing, GJReggie? Welcome to OP Poker.
I'm good. I'm excited. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to learning a bit more about Power Up today.
All right, fantastic. Okay, guys out there, obviously I think this might be the first time we've ever tried to do a 2-camera layout. And if I had a third monitor, it would probably have gone a lot better than that. But let me know if you guys can hear us okay. Let me know if you can see us okay and all that jazz, because it's important that you can see us before we actually kick off this lesson. Hey, Richie Rob, how you doing in the chat? GJReggie. Oh, well, nope, GJReggie's here with me this time. OP Poker James, welcome. Double webcam incoming. That's right. Yeah. I was playing Drake, started from the bottom here because we have a fledgling power-up player aspiring to great things. Hopefully, yeah. Just in the process. Such a fire track. I'm glad you approved, my friend. Can you guys just confirm you can hear us okay? You can see us okay and all that jazz, because my OBS is incredibly minimized because I'm trying to keep enough screen so you can actually see GJ's face. You can see whenever I make it big, my OBS actually goes over her face very slightly. Looks like we're doing okay. We'll just wait for these guys to catch up and then we can kick off. 23 viewers already. All right, guys. People come here to learn. Just in the process. Thank you very much for showing up. You committed to it, and now you're here. I appreciate that, my man. I like a man who's got conviction.
Oh yeah, I think he's addicted now. He's addicted.
it can be very addictive. It's like a puzzle that you want to solve, and there's like a lot of things to learn. Solid Motion. How the hell are you, my friend? Thank you for coming to join us today. Come on, guys, hit us up. Can you hear us? Can you see us? Okay. I just want to make sure we're all on screen before we get started here today. solid memes, OP Poker James.
Everything's crisp, says Justin.
Everything is crisp. Everything's crisp. That's how I like it, Justin. That's how I like my streams. I like my streams like I like my Rice Krispies. I like them crisp. Show me the money. How you doing? All right, guys. Yeah, cool. It seems like everything's working fine, so I guess we're going to kick it off. GJReggie, welcome once again to OP Poker. Thank you very much for coming to join us here today. I'm so glad you could come. This is an exciting segment. If it works well, I'd like to do more of this in the future. By the way, guys, if any of you out there would like to do some more sort of coaching sessions or whatever, first of all, and most importantly, I would love if you could introduce yourself and kind of repeat what we spoke about a little bit just before we started here today. Tell us about your streaming. Tell us about what you like to stream. Tell us about why you started streaming. Tell us about where you're from. Give us your social security number, bank account details.
Okay, I'll go through all that.
Okay. In that order.
In that order, yeah. So I'm GJReggie. My real name's George. I'm 26 and I'm from the UK. I'm living in Birmingham right now. I started streaming in August this year. And I pretty much just started streaming because of the Run It Up and PokerStars Platinum Pass Challenge. So I'd never done any streaming before, but I thought this would be a great opportunity to start. I've been following poker and watching it since 2016, but I haven't played that much. I only really started playing this year about March time. Mm-hmm. And I stream super micro stakes, 25 cent, 50 cent sit and goes, some of the 55 cent MTTs and stuff. And I'm trying to build a bankroll, trying to learn how to stream, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I love it. I don't think I'm going to stop even after the challenge is over, because it's just too much fun being on Twitch. It's too much fun.
It's good fun. It's very addictive, and once you get the hang of it, it's just really awesome. Okay, so you said you play sit and goes. Are those usually single table sit and goes, and then you do some of the smaller stakes MTTs as well?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm doing the 45 man and the 90 man sit and goes.
Okay, cool.
And then some of the 55 cent MTTs, like the hot 55 cent, big 55 cent, bounty builder 55 cent. Sometimes a $1.10 if I'm feeling frisky.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's about it at the moment.
All right, cool. And what is it that you do? I think I've asked you this question already, but what is it you do in your day job?
Don't know.
So I work as a business improvement manager on a facilities management contract. So basically, I work on a contract that looks after physical building stuff like electrics, plumbing, walls, and whatnot. And we don't perform that well at the moment, so I'm trying to I'm trying to look at things at how we can perform.
So you're trying to learn how to be a pro poker player so you can get the hell out of there
Yes.
and never. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much for that follow. By the way, I can't actually see what your name was because my OBS screen is like this big. But I appreciate your follow. Thank you. All right, cool. Fair enough. No, I'm only joking. That's great. Okay, cool. Well, then this seems like the perfect time to pick up and learn some power ups. So, can you confirm if you can see my screen okay over here? Can you see my mouse? All right, guys. So I've actually organized, believe it or not, I know I'm incredibly organized. I know it's going to be really interesting for a lot of you. I've actually made a very basic PowerPoint presentation. It shouldn't take too long to go through. Basically, guys, my goal here, and let me know if I'm rambling on a bit too much because I want to keep this as simple as possible. I just wanted to point out some of the, well, I guess I'll start it and we can talk about what exactly I want to talk about because that's how I broke it down. Let me start off the slideshow over here. This should work straight off the bat. Okay. This is entitled "How to Annihilate Power Up." This is exactly where we're going to start off. Okay, guys. Now, how to annihilate power up, aka common mistakes that new players make and how to avoid them, aka the best power up combinations to hold, and aka live play session with GJReggie. By the end of this course, this intensive 5-minute course, you will be a power up crusher. So let's get it on. Okay, cool. So. Common power up mistakes. This is ridiculously important for me, and I think it's going to be very important for you as well, because I think a lot of players who initially started playing power up ran into some of these issues, and right off the bat, it kind of skewed their idea of the game, and it completely put people off because these mistakes. When you make a mistake in Texas Hold'em, you usually have some equity, you usually have some percentages, you usually have some way of getting out of the hole. But when you make some mistakes in power up, it will ruin your life. It just can you can literally go from being 100% in the hand to being 0%. It is absolutely mad, right? So these are just the basics, guys. There's probably other common mistakes, but I felt like these were the ones that jumped out at me, so these are the ones we're going to talk about. All right, so number one is using powers pre-flop. So one of the easiest ways to spot a beginning player is they are excessively using their powers pre-flop. This kind of makes sense, though, because if they're beginners, as we all know, Texas Hold'em is very much a pre-flop game. However, with the addition of the powers, this version of Texas Hold'em that we call Power Up becomes more of a draw game. So it's more important that you get more information before you decide what a strong hand is. Now, why is using powers pre-flop bad? I have 3 reasons written down. Number 1 is it's an expensive way to try and marginally improve your hand. Number 2 is it's obvious when you have improved your hand and people will just give up, although you've spent a lot of points. And number 3 is you can't make monsters pre-flop. The exception of this, of course, is aces and maybe kings. But then, of course, the more cards that you see on the flop, turn, and river, the more of an informed decision you can make about what actually makes a strong hand. Also, shout out if I'm going too fast here, Reggie.
No, it's fine. It's good. I'm listening. I've got a pen and paper.
Okay, good stuff.
I'm making notes.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna say a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna wrap up each of these with a rule of thumb, which should be easier to remember than all the stuff I'm babbling on about now.
Okay.
So the general rule of thumb here with the pre-flop stuff is your energy and powers are better spent post-flop, preferably when there are more chips already in the pot. And that's kind of an important note there at the end. Preferably when there are more chips in the pot. Now that's kind of where the skill comes into it. The trick in Power Up is to convince your opponents to put money in and then completely ruining their chances of winning. That's something that will come with experience, so don't think about that too much. But just generally, for you and anybody out there watching, just remember that your powers are almost always better played post-flop because you can actually figure out what a good hand looks like. Just to give a very brief example, if you're playing normal Texas Hold'em and you raise up pocket aces, aces pre-flop are the nuts. You're feeling super confident. How many times have you raised up aces and then the flop comes like 7, 8, 9, 3 clubs and you don't have a club in your hand? And all of a sudden, the relative hand strengths have shifted like greatly, right? Yeah. So by allowing yourself just to see the first 3 cards or even better, the 4 cards or even better 5 cards, you can make a much more informed decision about what a strong hand looks like, and it's a lot easier for you to completely fuck people up, if you know what I'm saying. All right, cool. So that's the first one. Yeah, as I said, guys, just keep an eye on the rule of thumb here. If you're not following along with what I'm talking about, that's fine. As long as you follow the rule of thumb, that should keep you out of trouble. All right, number 2 I got on the list here is precog catastrophe. Now, guys, if you don't know what precog means, I'm going to explain what it means, but I'd also like to point out that there is a full glossary of power-up terms, which you can find over on our website. I'll actually put a link to that if you're watching this on YouTube now, because this is going to end up on our YouTube eventually. But I'll put a link to that as well. But let me explain what a precog is.
Yeah, that would be good for my benefit.
Okay,
as well.
No, sure. No, that's what we're here for. No problem. Precog is defined as Powers that show future cards to come, typically from the top of the deck. So
Right, okay.
the examples I have here on screen are Intel, Engineer, and Scanner, which I believe are the only three precog powers we have now. And what they all have in common is they allow you to see into the future. Precog, in this case, meaning precognition, or the ability to see the future. That was actually what the developers of the game were calling it. That's why we're using that term, because it sounds fancy too. It makes us sound like we're really, you know. So with Intel, for those of you that don't know, you can see the next card to come for the rest of the hand. So the next card on the top of the deck, no matter what street you're on. With Engineer, you can see the top 3 cards to come off the top of the deck. You choose to keep one and you discard the others, and the card that you choose goes back on top of the deck. With a Scanner, you see the next 2 cards to come, and then you can choose to keep them on the top of the deck, or you can choose to discard them. So that's what a precog is, but what is a precog catastrophe? This is probably one of the absolute biggest mistakes that I've seen, and this single problem is probably responsible for more people rage quitting the game and never coming back than I've ever seen, okay? So a precog catastrophe is when, let's say you have a flush draw, you have the nut flush draw,
Okay.
and you're like, okay, all I need is a heart, all I need is a heart, this is going to be great. You're going to the river and you decide that you're going to play an Engineer to try and find a heart to give yourself the nuts. This is the most common mistake that I've ever seen, and this is the most common example of a precog catastrophe. You then play an Engineer and you put a heart out there, and you know that the heart is coming. You know you're going to have the nuts on the river. At which point you fist pump the air, you move all in, and you're like, oh baby, here we go. All the money's coming my way. But they've completely forgotten that the card can still be changed, the card that they've selected. Now, this is especially bad when you play Engineer, because those of you that play the game know that when you play an Engineer, not only do you get to pick 3 cards, but everybody gets to see the card that you picked as well. So you're turning your hand face up, you're saying that you absolutely have a flush draw because that was the only heart that was available or whatever. You fist pump, you're like, yeah, send it. You start spamming emotes and you're like, yeah, unlucky. And then they forget that your opponent has a lot of ways to remove that card as well. So for example, they could play an Engineer, which would remove that card, or they could play a Scanner and throw that card away, or they could even play an Upgrade and then throw away the card, or they could even play a Reload and then put that card into their hand, depending on what their hand was. And that's 4 examples of ways that you can remove cards to come, and that's when precog catastrophes can occur. And okay, so let me give you an even better example of this, and this is why this is a catastrophe. Let's say for example, instead of having a flush draw, you are going for a gut shot, right? So you, if you have a gut shot, you have 4 cards to hit. You play an Engineer, you pick out your gut shot, you go all in, and you're like, hey, happy days, cool, I'm about to hit a straight. You've gone from having the best hand 100% of the time to having something like 12% with 2 cards to come, or 6% to one cards to come once that card has been removed.
Yeah.
So you can see how making these kinds of mistakes can be completely soul destroying, especially for new beginners. And the rule of thumb here, just after all that talk, is basically always assume that your precog cards can be removed unless your opponent is very low on energy. Okay.
What if you're like in position to that person? Does that make a difference?
It absolutely does make a difference. Correct. So the mistake that the people out of position might make is they might try and Engineer themselves a straight, but then because the other person acts second, that's when they have the opportunity to change the card. However, if you are in position, then we actually this goes on to point 3. But if you're in position, you can feel free to Engineer yourself whatever, because then you can check and allow that card to fall, at which point it can no longer be removed.
Okay.
So yeah, no, that you're spot on. You've already hit the nail on the head right there. So the rule of thumb still applies to this situation exactly, because you should always assume that precog cards can be removed, but only if you give your opponent the opportunity to remove it by betting, or if you're first to act and they're second to act, etc. So when you're in situations where you act last, it doesn't matter as much, as long as you don't then Engineer the card and then move all in and allow them to play it being out of position. All right, cool. Exactly. So that one's once it's happened a couple times, you'll learn pretty quick not to make that mistake, because it really sucks when it happens. It really, really, really sucks. Okay, cool. And my third common mistakes in Power Up is about locking boards. Do you understand the term locking the board?
Is that just when everyone can't play any more powers?
No, that would be like an EMP. Locking the board is essentially when you or your opponent is all in, and therefore it stops the
right,
board
okay.
from being changed. So if you've ever seen somebody
Right.
go all in and all the cards turn
Yeah.
like red, it
Yeah.
means that the board can no longer be augmented. Now, that's an important note as well, because right now the only board augmentation card that we have is Disintegrate, but in the
Okay.
future there might be other powers that could potentially change the outcome of flops and turns and rivers. I don't have that information personally, but I imagine that that's the direction they're going to be going at some stage. So definitely look out for that. Now, why is it important to lock the board? For the card that I just explained, Disintegrate will completely ruin your day. So let me give you a common example of a common mistake.
Okay.
Let's say again you have that nice flush draw, and then on the river you make your flush,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my gosh, I have the nuts. This is super cool. I'm gonna go ahead and value bet this now, and you bet 400 into a pot of 1,000, and you don't go all in.
Yeah.
The person who's got bottom pair or whatever is like, oh, they must have that flush. They play a single Disintegrate, they destroy your flush, they make the call with bottom pair, and you're like, wow, I run so terrible. I'm never going to play Power Up again in my life. This game is so terrible. And that is another very common mistake. But of course, by going all in, you stop them from doing exactly that. So when you make your big hands, generally speaking, it's important to lock the board to protect the strength of your hand. So the rule of thumb here is it is usually best locking boards in situations where your opponent can disintegrate your hand. Now, the situations where your opponent can disintegrate your hand are situations where you make your hand on the same street where they can play disintegrate, and they have 4 or more energy, because you need 4 energy to play a disintegrate.
Right. Okay.
In situations where they have less than 4, you're usually golden because they're not going to be able to remove it, and you can just go ahead and value bet. And there's a whole bunch of other sort of higher strategies where you're going to be able to predict whether or not they have a disintegrate. But for now, generally speaking, when you make a strong hand, you want to lock it up and stop it from getting destroyed.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Sounds good.
Okay, so this was the longest part of it, and I hope that sort of makes sense. I guess we'll make more reference to that as we're playing as well. So a lot of this will be sort of instilled as we're doing our live play section in a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
But,
Sounds good.
okay, cool. Let me just check up on the chat here.
I've been trying to follow with chat at the same time.
Okay, good. Guys, I'll catch up with you in chat in a minute. I just want to get through this so we can actually get to the fun stuff. All right, cool. So the next section here is the best combinations to hold. Now, this is going to be a little bit controversial, because I'm sure that some people have different preferences. But I think
Right.
I think this is pretty much spot on. Going back to our Power Up glossary. A term that a lot of people were making reference to really early on were pick and grab cards. A pick card meaning that you get to pick which card is going to come, like an engineer, for example.
Okay.
And then a grab card being a card like engineer or reload, which allows you to put that card into your hand. So when I say pick and grab, I mean pick could be a scanner, it could be an engineer.
Yeah.
And then a grab being a reload or an upgrade. And the combination of those two give you the best possible way to improve your hand, especially when you have engineer and reload. Because, for example, even if you've completely missed everything, you can sometimes have flush draws, you can sometimes have straight draws and flush draws, you can sometimes have opportunities to deploy flushes and straights. It's just a bomb combo. And I don't think anybody will argue when I tell you that the best possible combination that you can have is engineer plus reload plus EMP. So what you're basically always trying to do in this game is you're always trying to conserve your energy so you have enough powers to energy to play the powers engineer, reload, EMP, usually in that order as well. But we'll see in a little bit exactly how that works. The second best combination is a pick and just a grab without the EMP.
Yeah.
The EMP, basically what you're going to see is EMP is probably one of the most OP cards there are.
Yeah.
When it's used correctly. And in fact, there's some discussion as to whether or not it should actually cost slightly more than it does now. But EMP really allows you to do some crazy stuff, and I think a lot of like the most devastating plays you can make always have an EMP in there. So EMP is not a card that you want to be throwing away lightly, but we'll talk about that while we're playing as well. This third one is probably the controversial one. I really like situations where you can pick and then EMP. So I'll give you a good example of that is, let's say you have like a pair of 8s. If you can trap your opponent into putting some chips in the pot, and then you can use a pick card to make sure that the first card out the deck is either a set or a card under your pair.
Yeah.
You can then EMP, and then you're giving yourself a very marginally better shot at winning a flip or sometimes you can remove cards. So if, for example, they go all in front of you, you can actually use an engineer, to remove like an ace or a king or a queen or overcards, and then that greatly decreases the likelihood that they're going to hit their pair that's going to bust you up.
Okay.
So that's another one. And then the last point to make here is cycle. Do you know what I mean by cycle?
No.
Okay, so when we cycle cards, what we're doing is we're trying to get powers out of our hands to make it possible to have a better combination.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like stuff that we don't think is helpful. We just try and get rid of it as quickly as possible so that we can get closer to a pick, grab, EMP or some kind of combination of that. Right. If that makes sense. And the cards and the cards that you want to try to get out of your hand as quickly as possible are Clone, Disintegrate, and then to some degree X-Ray. X-Ray is a very helpful card and it's quite cheap. So X-Ray not as much, but these are the cards that aren't as useful, and you're always trying to get a pick, grab, EMP combo in your hand.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So that's the boring stuff out of the way. GJReggie is now a confirmed pro, and we're gonna jump into some games and we're gonna see how we get on. Because the best way to learn Power Up is definitely to give it a go. But I think if everybody had the conversation that we just had, I know it's probably a lot of information to take on.
Yeah, a little bit, but we'll see how we go. Okay. And I've learned better by playing myself anyway. Great. So I've got my notes.
Okay. No, that's yeah. I'm sorry if that went on a bit, you guys, but I think those were good. Stop loss lol. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that. Okay, cool. So we're gonna turn this one off. Okay, so if you could share with me your Discord, or on Discord, if you could share with me your screen.
Oh, okay. Do I have to start a call first?
Yes. And then I might have to mute myself and all that stuff as well. Let me see where we're at. Okay, join the call. Okay, so if you could mute and deafen yourself.
Oh, okay. Mute and...
Yep, and then share your screen. Kelly Minkin fan, very nice.
Oh no, it's sharing both my screens. How do I... Oh. I don't know what I've done. How do I pick just the one screen?
Oh, I'm not sure. We had it working yesterday.
Does it matter if I share both?
Maybe not. One sec. Let me see. It does look a bit squashed actually. I'm not sure if you could have a play with it. We're not in any rush. It's no problem. We got all night. Oh, there we go. Maybe screen one. Oh, okay. Let's see screen one. That's weird.
Yeah. Is it? So it's not just me.
Anuj says, listening to Nick, learning Power Up, reading chat, replying, writing notes. Nice set of skills. Very impressed.
Oh, I can stream just the lobby. Share just. Can you see that?
I can see that. Okay, but I'm not sure if it. Actually, there's a chance that maybe. There's a chance that maybe if you fire up a game, you can just show the game on your screen.
Yeah, maybe. Shall I?
Yeah, give it a crack.
Okay.
Don't think there's any. Okay.
Is that working?
Oh, yeah, that works great. Perfect. Cool. If you could move that table, can you move this? Actually, no, I'll move it around 1 second. Here we go. Let's do it like this now. All right, that looks good. Hey, all right, perfect. Very nice. All right, guys, let us know if you can see that okay. I think that's going to work just fine. But out there in Twitch land, let me know if you can see what's up. I think that looks acceptable to me. All right, okay, cool. Here we go. So now you're going to win every single game.
No pressure.
No pressure at all.
Okay.
Richie Rob says you need to hide those dodgy videos you have on your desktop.
I know, right?
I
know. I guess we'll just play the first hand and see how it goes.
It wouldn't be live streaming without technical difficulties. Okay, so you limped in with the Queen 4?
Yes.
Okay.
It's probably a bad idea, but because I forget how few chips you really have.
It's a hyper turbo. It's very fast paced.
Yeah.
Although I would say at these lower stakes, even though I might not limp with that hand exactly, you can definitely get away with
Yeah.
more limping than you would at higher stakes. So
Oh, okay.
don't mind that as much.
Hmm. How can we donate for a new office chair for Reggie?
Stop loss. Yep, just send it straight here. I'll make sure she gets the money. No problem. Can't see. Need glasses, but the table looks fine. Good stuff, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, so this guy min three bet you, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then disintegrates the five.
Five.
And I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, I agree with you. The five seems like a very strange card for him to do that with. So what's your course of action here?
I think so. I haven't even looked at my cards yet. I think I'm probably gonna call because I reckon we've still got a pretty good hand.
Okay. I guess yeah. Okay, I guess we'll talk about the hand afterwards because I'm not supposed to ghost you officially. But after the hand is
Yeah,
after the
yeah.
hand is done, we can talk about it.
Yeah, that's cool. Um, is that noise coming
No, it's
from?
it's me. I live. There's a busy road outside my house. There's a guy on a motorcycle driving by. So
Oh, right, okay. Um, huh.
it does take some getting used to. So don't be afraid to don't be afraid to make mistakes because that's how we learn.
Okay.
So just yeah. I'm not saying what you're doing is making a mistake either, but
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. That's
just
fine.
just go with it and then we'll talk about it.
It's actually a lot of pressure doing this on stream now. I didn't realize how nervous I would be now that I'm actually playing in front of everyone.
No problem, no problem. We've got a very we got a nice community here, so it's all good.
Okay, okay. I know I have an ace five.
Why did he disintegrate his pair? What is he doing? Okay, so let's talk about that hand. I really like your play. I think you played it really well. Obviously
Okay.
we have no idea what this guy is thinking, but I'm just
Yeah.
interested as to why you didn't want to disintegrate the 10 because that was an overcard to your pair.
Um, yeah, I guess I don't know. I was just a bit confused about him disintegrating the five in the first place.
I think he was as well.
And then I think afterwards, if I would, once the turn came another seven, just in case they might have had a seven, might have disintegrated again because that would have been trips. But I'm just going to check here before I time out.
Yep.
I've got top pair. I know there's no hearts, so I'm just going to bet.
Okay.
I don't really think there's any need at the moment. Okay, gonna fold.
Yeah. I like the bet. I mean, you've got top pair, except obviously with this game, like we were saying in I
Yeah.
believe it was rule number one or whatever. Was it rule number one? I can't even remember which rule it was. But oh yeah, it was rule number one. So what you always need to remember is the more cards that you allow your opponents to see, the more information they get, and the more likely they are to improve their hand.
Yeah.
So in situations, if you can force people to give up before they have more cards to see, you're always going to do slightly better.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I like the bet because you might have just denied him the opportunity to see a pair, which could turn into two pair, which could turn into three of a kinds once they
Yeah.
start playing all their powers and stuff. But I like your play with the eights actually. I think I might have been tempted to destroy the 10, but
Right.
the 10 also is a card that doesn't necessarily hit his min 3-bet range either. So maybe a better card to disintegrate would be like an ace or a king on the turn.
Yeah.
So I like the play.
7, 8, 9, 10, jack. Oh, that works.
Yeah. Nice.
I mean, this guy seems a bit
A bit.
I don't even know at this point.
He's
Would
definitely.
it be okay? Well, I'm just gonna keep betting, I guess.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so now he can see the 8 to come, just like you, because he has until as well.
Yeah. Yeah. any calls.
All right, so we clone the intel.
Yeah, just for future purposes, I guess.
Song for Jay Carver, welcome to the stream. Richie, behave yourself.
I'm now not paying attention to chat at all.
Okay, no, you don't. I'll pay attention to the chat. You just play. Very nice hands.
7. So they didn't have anything.
A pair of sevens. Will do it. Very nice. You successfully managed to deal with that guy nicely. Yeah, Anuj. He's like, if I play a disintegrate on my pair of 5s, it might turn into trips. I think that was actually what he was thinking, Anuj, in some strange way. Rule number 1: disregard the rules.
Okay.
No, well played. I really like that. The only thing I would say is against that guy, I think that play was fine. But do you remember our rule about locking boards when you make big hands?
Yeah.
So in that situation, when you bet, that was a perfect opportunity for him to destroy the 10, which would then leave you with Jack high.
Right. Okay, so it would have been better going all in myself to put them all in.
Yes, especially because you could see the next card to come was not a heart.
Yeah.
So therefore, they couldn't give them the flush unless they did something really fancy.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, just...
Ten of clubs is exposed.
That's not terrible.
No, that's definitely good. Whenever people make these kinds of plays, it's always nice for them not to see the card you like.
Yeah. And then the upgrade.
Okay, yep. So they've drawn one random card off the top of the deck now.
And then I didn't see which card they actually got rid of though. Okay. So I think here, because I've got top pair and I'm not too worried. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it would be better to disintegrate an 8 or the 5.
I like it.
But I can only just get the 5 anyway.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So no flushes beat us.
Nice,
so,
correct.
I can't use any more cards anyway, right?
You can if you'd like. You can use as many cards as you have energy for.
Okay, but I mean, for them, or no, they can still use cards.
He can, but he only has 1 power behind him. Remember.
Right. Okay.
I think I like your play overall here. But by far the best part of it was your decision to destroy the 5 of spades.
Yeah.
Because it removes the opportunity for flushes. It removes the opportunity for hands like pocket, like 5s full of 8s as well, which is kind of minor, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
But more importantly, Disintegrate, remember, is one of those cards that we like to use quickly to try and give ourselves better opportunities to have better combos. So not only was it helpful in this case, but also by removing it, you give yourself a better shot at getting one of these nice pick and grab combos that you're looking for. Unfortunately, you get dealt to Disintegrate immediately again, which isn't what you're looking for, but...
Yeah, okay. In terms of, like, because I know there's only 2/3 people, how like, wide range-wise are we really kind of playing, especially with all these options as well?
Yeah, I mean, so the simple answer is you should be wider the better combination that you have.
Oh, right,
because when you have a pick and grab combo, especially if it has an EMP, you have so many opportunities to improve your hand. You have because if you have any piece of the flop, if you have one of the same suit, if you have a pair of any kind, if you have any kind of gut shot, any kind of straight draw, it just gives you a wealth of ways to improve your hand in lots of interesting ways, especially if you have nice drawing hands like 8-7 suited or 9-10 off. 9-10 off is actually quite a special one because it gives you 2 flush draws.
Okay.
Because, of course, if you have a single... So in this case, if you have a single heart in your hand, if another heart were to go down on the board, you could then pick and grab yourself a flush, and you'd have 3 shots at hitting that heart.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so, if I think it through.
So if you had 9-10 of hearts, 9-10 there with a heart in your hand, you'd have top pair and you'd have a backdoor flush draw.
Yeah.
But you need the combo to back it up, which is why it's important that we get rid of our cards like Disintegrate as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Anuj, in before Reggie completes her bankroll challenge before James. It's possible. She's about to win. She's about to win like 10 consecutive games here. So
Hopefully, you never know.
no, I think you're playing very well so far. You're doing good.
Okay. I think it's interesting how the blinds go up by hands as well, not by like a time limit, as with most other kind of tournaments and things.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What was your question?
I said the blinds go up by like
Yes.
what hands?
Yeah.
How many hands to play, rather than
Yeah.
actually like it's been 5 minutes kind of
Yeah,
thing. So
I think they made that decision because some of the hands can be quite long because people have a lot more decision time. Because if you usually have a lot more options. So yeah, it made sense for them to do it in hands. But it's quite interesting because it means that you can really accurately predict when you're about to get in hot water as well.
yeah.
So
True.
when you're playing like really, really strong opponents, you can actually predict several hands in advance when how many big blinds you're gonna have in so many hands and how many points you're gonna have at that point.
Yeah.
That's some pretty high level meta shit though, so.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll stick to the basics.
Well, you never know. I mean, this could be the fastest learning session of all time.
Maybe, hopefully. Four of clubs.
Kelly Minkenhand, I'd shove King 7 pre. Yes, in a normal game, I would agree with you. I think Anuj is correct in pointing out, though, that in this game, you're not really going to be shoving the same kind of hands that you're usually shoving, simply because your opponent will have a lot more opportunities to improve their hands with the energy and powers that they might have in their hand already. The trick in this game is to just try and edge people out slowly. So an EMP has been played, so you can't play any of your powers.
Yeah.
You have a 2 high flush draw.
Yes. And I know they have the 4 of clubs.
Yes.
So, I mean, unless they've got a higher flush draw, or maybe like ace 4 or something. But I think I've still got more chips than them, and I've got more energy than them for the next round.
Sure, I like the fold. I like the fold. I mean, what's interesting here is you might actually have, like, let's say they have the queen of spades. You could actually still have the best hand there with one of their spades out, but probably against players at this level, it's probably best just to wait for a better spot and not try to guess so much. They could also just have trip jacks there and just be trying to protect their hand. So another common mistake that I think probably I should have gone into the lecture, but it didn't, is that pocket pairs, low pocket pairs, play much, much, much worse than they do in Texas Hold'em.
Okay.
Which probably would have been helpful to tell you before you called with pocket threes here. But let me explain the reasoning behind this. The reasoning is, sorry, play this hand first and we'll talk about it after.
That's fine. I was going to continue just because we've got a potential
straight draw.
Yeah, but I might just check to see.
Okay, I like it.
All right.
You're running out of time.
I know, I'm running out of time.
The other thing that you could have done there is you could have disintegrated the ace and then gone all in with the threes, because your pair is usually going to be good, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
And also, because he's so low on energy, he's not going to have an opportunity to play too many powers to give himself the better hands after you go all in.
Yeah.
So it's all a case of trying to exploit your opponent when they're low on energy and when they're low on powers.
Okay.
So in that case, he had 1 power and 5 energy, which means unless he has like exactly an engineer, or if he gets lucky playing an upgrade, you're probably going to have the best hand most of the time.
Okay.
But for the most part, low pocket pairs are things that you should try and avoid entirely. So pocket 2s, pocket 3s, pocket 4s. I'd say up to pocket 5s or pocket 6s. Ooh, that's a good flop.
That's a very good flop for us.
Tony, I still haven't mastered how to win flips. You know that, and I wish you wouldn't. I wish you wouldn't bring that up here in this forum because it's embarrassing. Nick still hasn't taught Reggie the most important part of Power Up: how to tilt the players with quick chat. James,
how to tilt the players with chat. Just the stuff here.
Yep. James is actually really good at that. So
Hmm.
that's too advanced for us, Tony Warriors. Exactly. Win how many flips won in current year? It's not a good percentage, you guys. Trust me. So your opponent destroyed the ace in this case, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But
Okay.
we've still got top pair.
Yep.
I think I'm just gonna check it back. I think I can hear myself in the background of your audio somehow.
Okay. It might be that you have to mute and deafen in did you mute and deafen yourself in Discord?
I'll double check and do it again now,
Okay.
and hopefully it'll be fine.
Okay. Well, you can do that after this game as well if you want.
Yeah.
I definitely would be betting with Ace Jack in that situation. In fact, what's interesting here is you were probably much more aggressive in situations with weaker hands earlier in the game. So in that situation when you had King 10 and it came King 8-8, and you destroyed the 5 of spades, you removed the flush draw on the river.
Yeah.
You took a really aggressive line there, which I really liked. But then in a situation where you had a stronger hand here, you decided to slow down.
I'm scared.
I don't mind slowing down, but the important point to note here is, again, it was a situation where you had very, very few energy, or very little energy.
Yeah, sure.
So again, he's going to have a lot less opportunity to improve his hand. So I think a value bet was probably good.
Yeah. I have absolutely nothing, but it has just been kind of checked round,
Okay.
and I don't really have any way of improving unless I use the deploy potentially. And okay.
Does the 8 play? The 8 plays, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, the only thing I would point out here is you've got full energy and you're holding 2 of those cards that we're supposed to cycle.
Oh, that we need to get rid of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that situation, even though maybe you couldn't win it, I think playing a disintegrate just to give yourself a better shot at getting a good combo was the right play.
Okay.
I think your decision not to bet makes sense though.
Yeah.
Maya, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I know, Anush. It's very unfortunate. She's gotten disintegrate like three spins in a row. Okay.
So I could use like one of these now. I mean, I think they saw the card and they carried on betting and calling. So I don't know if the 4 is actually any good with them. But then I could get rid of it and hopefully have something better next time.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I like where your head's at.
It is actually a lot to think about.
Oh, it's oh man, yes there is. Yes, there absolutely is. 100%. Especially when you're trying to stream it as well, it can be really intense trying to keep up with people and try and consider every possible outcome.
Yeah. Especially when like sometimes you 2-table as well, and then you've got both of that, and then the chat, and
absolutely.
then all the stream stuff going on.
That's a good.
They saw the card, then they deployed, and now there's a potential flush out there as well, and he's just jammed all in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think this guy might have been bluffing, but you don't really even have a hand that you can call with too often. He could be bluffing with a better hand there sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, now we're talking. This is a little bit of better. This is a better combination we've got now.
Cool. Oh, and we've got hearts, which is very nice. I'll wait till after the hand to ask my question.
Yeah, no, sure, no problem. Yeah, for anybody out there watching, by the way, what we're doing here is completely within the terms of service of PokerStars. We're not ghosting. We're not giving any advice while the hand is being played. We're just discussing it after the fact. So it's basically the same as review. This is all being cleared by PokerStars, etc. So everything, so we're all good. Nobody's gonna get lifetime bans or anything.
So just in that one there, because
Yeah.
I flopped the flush draw,
Yes.
and then I had an engineer, so I could have engineered to get the heart
Yes.
on either the turn or the river. Would it be better to use it on the turn or on the river, or is there like a preference for that?
This is a great question. This is a great question. Okay, so remember that the deploy can be played even after all the cards have fallen, right? You can deploy after the river, right?
Oh yeah, okay,
So
yeah,
so
yeah,
what would have been what's really cool there, and I like your line, is I would always just bet and then hope it comes in the turn, and then if it misses, then you just bet and hope it comes in the river, and then if it doesn't come on the
yeah,
river, then you engineer, you find that heart, you play the deploy, you slap it down after the river, and then you go all in and you lock it so they can't destroy your flush.
yeah,
And that is one of the most crushing plays you can make right now on anyone, because they're like, oh, thank God, the river's safe. This is fine. This worked out perfectly. I've got top pair. And then you deploy it right in their face and you smash it and you're like, yeah, there you go.
And that's how you put someone on tilt, I
And
take
and
it.
that's how you turn the screws. That's how you take into the cleaners. And when you successfully, hopefully on stream, make that play against somebody,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel like $1,000,000. You're gonna be like, I love this game. Power up for life. Those are definitely the situations that you live for. The other cool thing about having Queen Jack in that specific situation is not only do you have a flush draw, but you have two overcards to a very dry flop.
Yeah.
So you can hit a queen and you're pretty happy. You can hit a jack, you're pretty happy. Even if he EMP jams the flop, you can still call and you're still the favorite against a pair.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty all-round amazing situation. I like how you played it though. I thought that was very well played.
Okay.
Okay.
So they destroyed the ace and they've just gone all in. We have seen two clubs. I think I'm just gonna fold
Okay.
this time
Okay.
round though. I know I could have picked potentially the next card,
Yeah.
but if they want, because I want clubs as well, a queen or a nine, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could potentially have better clubs. It's a very large,
Yeah.
very,
Three times the big blind.
yeah,
Okay, so the only reason why I think I like to play an engineer in that situation, that last one,
yeah,
play this hand first because you don't have much of a time bank right now.
yeah, sure. Um,
Okay. Nice hand. The only thing I would say about the Queen Nine hand is the clone is blocking up your hand. The clone is stopping you from having a great combo. So
yeah,
playing the engineer just to find a queen or a nine, and then even if you miss,
and
you get
then
to
clone
clone
it.
it.
Okay,
And
yeah,
then and
sure.
yeah, do you see what I'm saying? And then
Yeah,
you because you've got 15 energy, you'll be able to play a huge combination immediately the next hand without actually losing anything because you're already at full points.
yes, okay.
So that's definitely a consideration as well. Plus, I think that in situations where you're concerned about people having bigger flushes,
Yeah,
if you hold one of that flush or one, for example, the clubs in that case, it makes it pretty unlikely that they have a flush draw themselves because of card removal. Is this him deciding? Okay, cool.
yeah, this is them deciding.
Okay.
Would it be too much to have two engineers?
I
I've already pledged it now.
okay. No, you're fine. You're fine. There are some situations where double engineer is pretty funny.
Um,
Monsterman, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you here.
so like this hand would be like the best time to just make the most of all my cards and the fact that they've got no energy whatsoever.
That's right. That's right. So you can really, really turn up the pressure. And actually, this is an interesting spot. Having two engineers in a deploy gives you a lot of opportunities if you can find a draw.
Yeah.
So I actually don't mind if you were to raise there. Put him under
Yes.
maximum pressure. I mean, we can never know for sure. What does
Yeah.
this spot look like to you? What does this remind you of a hand that we played recently?
This one, yes.
Yes. Okay, that's all
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh man, I want you to smash this guy so bad now. I want it to come out just the way I just said it a minute ago.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice.
It feels great. It feels great.
They're thinking a long time about it, but they can't use. Can you use anything with 3 energy?
You can play a deploy.
Oh, that's the point.
You can also play an X-ray.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. And that's all she wrote. Boom.
Yes.
And that's how you do it right there. That's what I'm talking about. Game number 1, confirmed pro. Guys, can we get some love in the chat, please, for the first game? Do you know, it gets kind of intense, right? You know, it's kind of, especially late game when the blinds are super big. In a normal game of Texas Hold'em, you know, when the blinds get that big, the game would just be over in like seconds, right? But you can see how giving yourself the opportunity to put yourself in a good situation and waiting for these spots where you're going to have like infinity ways to win. That in that particular spot, right, where you have the flush draw, remember that if with a double engineer there, not only can you hit the turn with a club, not only can you hit the river with a club, but then even if after you've missed, but even better than that, you could play an engineer where you get 3 shots, and if you miss, you could engineer again and see 2 more additional cards. So on the river, you have 5 shots at 9 cards to give yourself the best hand with the deploy.
Yeah.
And that's a rare opportunity. Very rarely do we have 5 shots at flush draws. All right. Did you? Are you still hearing yourself echoing a bit?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
No,
cool, good.
Still
Okay, cool.
I'm good.
All right. So did you want to load up another game?
Yeah. I'll just click register another. Do you think I'm gonna have to redo? Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to Let me close this one.
Okay.
And then Wait.
Yes, I'm really glad that hand played out the way it did because it totally highlighted my point from the previous hands. 25 cents in the bank, dong for Jay Carver. That's right.
Am I sharing the right thing?
You are. Yes, I can see you perfectly.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
This is working out really well. Good job, guys. Good job, support team. It doesn't look like we've dropped a single frame either. So the actual
nice.
Yeah, we're just killing this game right now. But yeah, I guess we'll just keep the games going and we'll try and find some more interesting spots like that. And then whenever, just let me know whenever you got to go or whatever the situation is, and then
cool. No, I haven't got any plans.
All right, good. Well, I'm glad you didn't double book this. This was a really important day. That was a test and you passed. Thank you very much. All right. James is learning. Thank God for that. Maya Cactus is very impressed with your play.
Thank you.
Anuj, exactly. James, do you finally see how it's done? James has been doing that thing where he disintegrates his pair, just like that guy in the first hand.
Okay, I'm just gonna let these guys battle this one out.
Monsterman always knew you were gonna go pro someday, so it's just beautiful that you're here to see it, Monsterman.
Yeah, this is the beginning.
Mimiana for life, be nice. How do I subscribe to your gifts? I would definitely pay money to be on Maya's GIF mail out list. All right, cool. So let's crush it. One thing that I've noticed so far in your play is your bet sizing, and I'm not sure if that's something that you picked up when you were watching the stream or if it's just what you're naturally kind of how you're sizing your bets.
I don't know. It depends, I guess, what your comment is.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. Your bet sizing is no. I'm just kidding. No, what I was going to say was your pre-flop bet sizing could be slightly bigger, I think. So usually in these situations, I would like to make it like 250 as opposed to 2, like a straight min raise. Until you get to the 100-200 stakes, in which case I would probably just min raise.
Right. Okay. Maybe I have been watching a bit too much then. I don't know.
No, but that's definitely not a mistake. I think min raising is totally fine too. The one bit that I did notice though is your C bet sizes. So when you're betting on flops, seems to be about 1/4 pot.
Okay.
Which is actually pretty close to what we do as well, even though that's quite unconventional for normal Texas Hold'em. Usually you bet about half pot or more, don't you?
Yeah, I do normally. I don't know if you can see my like little buttons set up already. The ones like you can pre-configure
Yeah.
your like percentage pot bet
Right. Yeah.
sizes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
normally bet about half pot and stuff. But
Okay.
I think I don't know. I'm pretty sure I just picked it up just from watching because I
Okay. No,
noticed
no,
that
no. I
I've
was,
got
yeah.
like
I was gonna say for the.
these here.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say for the most part, that's exactly what you should be doing. Because what you want to do is, you'd like to entice your opponent to spend energy as much as possible. You'd
Yeah,
also like to protect the strength of your hand. You'd also like to build the pot if you're gonna improve your hand on a later street.
yeah,
And about quarter size is very. There's situations where you adjust, of course, but
yeah,
for the most part, making that size as well stops you from getting burned too badly when people disintegrate your pairs and stuff like that as well.
yeah,
So if you start making really big bet sizes and people know that's how you bet, they can just check and let you bet and then always disintegrate a pair and go all in against you.
yeah.
But by betting the smaller sizes like you have been, you're putting yourself in a really cool situation. And I think that's what we would have suggested had you not just done it inherently because you're a natural. Zelda rupees. Monster Munch, he's currently playing the 25-cent games. The Indian rupees look like mini versions of the Zelda ones. The English educational system, James. Oh, oh jeez.
Hmm.
I wasn't following this hand, but yeah.
I kind of want to call though.
Yeah, I like the call.
Whew.
I mean, with that run out, the only hands you're really concerned about is like Jack 10 or Queen,
Yeah,
King Queen, I guess, you know?
yeah,
I think
um,
maybe he was trying to represent 10 Jack because he had two of them in his hand. But
yeah.
I think I like your call. I don't think, for the most part, when you're playing any hyper game, two pair is very rarely a
Very good.
fold.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you fold hands like two pair.
Yeah.
In fact, it's probably a mistake to do so. Nice bet size. She's got it, you
I'm learning.
guys. She's got it.
I'm listening. I'm paying
She's got
attention.
it. She's got it. Yes, no. Definitely a good adjustment. The news really liked you disintegrate. Well played.
Thank you.
Give me them rupees. All right. You've definitely got some better powers this game. You've definitely these are much more helpful cards than you had last game, and you still kicked his ass last game. So we'll see what happens now.
I don't think I got a single scanner or a single reload last time, did I?
No, you had trash powers last hand. Everyone was laughing in the chat about how bad you were running with that.
And we still won, so I guess it's not terrible.
No, you crushed him. You made the best of a tricky situation. So scanner reload is your pick and grab combo that you've already got.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, whenever you have a scanner reload or an engineer reload, you feel pretty good about your hand for the most part. Pretty much most cards, almost any two. Okay, you're gonna hit that king. Very nice. I really like your play here, by the way.
Cool. All in.
Mm.
I mean, unless they have a 4, I don't see what else they could really beat me with.
Nice.
Okay.
There you
Wait,
go.
do we just win?
That's it.
Oh,
That's
we
it.
just win.
Game number 2.
What?
All right, just keep them coming. Next game.
That happened too quickly.
And well, I mean, yeah. So I think the average game time of a
Oh,
power up is approximately 12 and a half minutes.
right.
So you can definitely bang these out. You know, you can definitely get through quite a few. So far, you've had some really interesting opponents. But you can see how immediately, simply because you're being a little bit more conservative with your energy, you can see
Yeah.
really quickly how you have such a huge advantage over people who just run out. So They spend all their
Yeah.
points pre-flop, and they don't really know what they're doing. And then when it comes to late game, you have all of the moves, and they have
Yeah.
none of the moves.
They clearly need to watch more OP Poker on
Exactly,
Twitch.
exactly. I couldn't have put it better myself. I'll pay you for that later. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Monster Mun. His river shove was pretty spewy. I agree. It was he also Monster Mun in that situation. He also didn't really represent the hand that he wanted to represent. There are certain situations where you can use blockers to your advantage, but yeah, in that hand, I think he was just like, I don't want to fold. I have a pair. Tony, I wasn't really following the hand, but yeah, make the call. I didn't say make the call. I said I like the call after the fact because I would never influence the flow of play. Yeah, that's right. 2 out of 2. Easy game. OP Poker James wants million.
I'll try. 1 million in one stream in after one lesson.
1 million, one stream. That's right.
I mean, it's way better than the 6 I lost straight on the bounce when I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, no, you're picking it up quick. I was actually I was watching some of Predator's stream today. He seems to have a pretty good grasp on it already. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I was lurking when he was streaming that as well.
Right.
I think Justin played a couple as well.
Yeah.
Seemed to
No,
do,
I watched Justin play a few. Justin, are you still here with us, man? He got it. He probably got all excited watching you play, and now he's probably loaded up like 5. All right.
He's gonna come join me on the tables.
That's right. All right, 3 out of 3 power up. Let's go.
Oh.
Yeah. What's Justin's screen name?
Just in the process.
Oh, it's on.
Oh,
Sorry.
his screen name. Oh no, his screen name is like Atlanta
okay,
Man with
okay.
the 3 for the the 3 at the end.
Oh, James is getting so much flack about the bankroll challenge. It is about time he finished it, and I've got no shame giving him flack because I got so much flack over my first bankroll challenge.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's horrible. Anuj, absolutely, that would be illegal. That's a lifetime ban you're talking about right there. Play Money has better players than the 25 cents. Well, I mean, I would argue as well that the $15 spin regs are better than the $100 regs. That's not true though. Not the regs. The players in general though.
Justin's lurking.
He's lurking. Good. Good.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
Thank you for the follow, Chuache21. I appreciate it, man. Let me know if you got any questions about what we're doing here today on stream. Atlantan. All right, cool.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said that.
Justin, whereabouts are you based, man?
He's in Ontario, I believe.
Oh, nice, Ontario.
Yes.
I'd like to do Canada for a while. I might try and I'm not sure if I can get a work visa, but for poker, but.
But yeah, work visa for professional poker player, Twitch streamer.
I mean, yeah, but Canada's pretty cool about that stuff usually. So.
Maybe I shouldn't have folded.
Anuj, I'm only joking, mate. I'm not actually sure what the rules are, but I think this is going well. We're learning, and we're not influencing the process. We're not influencing just in the process, you know.
I think it'd be funny now if we loaded up a game and Justin was just on our table.
I hope so. I would love it. As long as he promises not to stream snipe you, I think that's cool.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It looked like we had a little bit of a pause there at the beginning of the game. We might be able to synchronize it so we get on the same table as him and see how he plays. And then
that's true.
and then you can rip him to shreds afterwards, or on the stream if you want. You'd be like, "Look at this play; it's just so pedestrian."
Either that, or I'm gonna get schooled by Justin.
So look, now that you folded the hand here,
yes.
what do you think you should have done in this situation?
I could have X-rate to see what they both had. Or like this person did disintegrated an ace, but then maybe I would have liked hearts to have come out.
But in this situation, I think with the hand that you hand, you're probably just always going to fold no matter what, right? Even if you see, so we probably just want to try and remove that disintegrate so we have a better combination, right?
Oh, okay.
Again, because we have full energy, so just it doesn't cost us anything at all because we get 2 points next hand.
Okay.
So I would definitely have just played a disintegrate and folded no matter what. There are situations where you play powers and they have no use whatsoever, which is why in that previous hand where you remove the 5 of spades, it was both helpful for the hand that you were in, but also a great spot to cycle.
Yeah, so, I think in my head at the moment, I feel like all the powers should have a use.
Yes, I understand. Yeah, you have to get actually to begin with as well. A lot of players thought that we should always cycle EMP. They thought that EMP was really hard to play well, but now almost nobody ever cycles EMP. So it's all part of the meta. It's all part of the process.
Yeah.
But it does take some getting used to, and sometimes I get a bit sticky like that as well, and I'm like, I'm just gonna save the points and just see what happens next hand.
Yeah.
But trust me, disintegrate is not your friend. If you see people cloning disintegrates, you can mark them as a fish because it's just not cool.
Okay. You can't tag people in this though.
Not yet. No, you can't yet. No, because they haven't actually turned on that feature. But hopefully in the not so distant future we can.
Okay. So I don't have anything that I could use to actually get me the flush draw.
You're in Toronto, Justin. Okay, cool. I would love to visit Toronto. I would also love to go, and I would love to go to Playground Poker, but I believe that's in Montreal. I think that's in Montreal, though.
Oh wow. Okay. Just has aces.
Solid. Yes. If you get a 2-bed. Obviously, I'll come live with you, especially if it has such a good view like your last picture.
I'd rather not get exposed after GJReggie's crash course.
Against the TOS, not illegal. I don't think the feds are going to knock on your door. Richie Rob, famous last words before I get swatted.
Does Richie know where you live?
He does actually. I don't think he has my exact address, but it's not too hard to figure out. He's English. He knows what's up. All right, Queens, let's go. It's a good looking flop.
Keeps calling.
Yep.
Chances they wait and shove?
I don't know. I think I think that's kind of what we're looking for here most of the time. Just hoping they don't have a 6, of course.
Yeah.
But that's
okay,
that's usually not a problem.
Just waits ages.
You don't know
Thank you
the
for the follow.
power of the dark side.
And he folds. All right. Dender Bushy, thank you very much for the follow. Okay, the only comment I have about that hand is your pre-flop open should be bigger.
Okay.
Now, do you remember in that first thing, the first common mistakes I was saying about, we'd like to try and get people to commit lots of chips before we start spending points.
Okay.
So what you probably want to do there is you want to size up so you get more of his stack in the middle pre-flop. And then even that when that flop comes down, it's really easy because it's a nice paired board. It's low. You're not scared of anything, right? But if you convince them to put in a lot more, and then the board comes down really scary, what you could do is disintegrate a card that gives them a flush draw or something, or maybe top pair, and then you can go all in and stop him from playing any more. And then you've convinced him to put more chips in then and there. So if he folds, you're not gonna feel like you missed out on value.
Yeah. Okay.
If that makes sense. Also, you would have used that disintegrate, which you should have done like 5 hands ago.
Okay, I'm gonna use it now.
It's cool. It's all part of the process. It's fine.
And then.
Very good. Very good.
There we go. It's out now.
Trust me. Your life is going to be so much better without disintegrating it. Trust me.
Okay, so this guy is just cloned disintegrate. So we tag them a fish.
Yes. Right click. Sorry. Excuse me. Recreational player. Right click. Right click fisherman's friend. Yeah, that's actually a tag that we have for people.
Oh, I've just made the straight. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, I didn't even spot that. Yeah, nice. Kid Carter, how you doing? Oh, there you go.
Yes.
The descent.
So this is why you
Uh,
will.
This is why you might want to lock the board. However, you know that any 10 is also a straight there as well.
Yes.
So you could be shoving into the nuts. So I think the bet is fine. I think, and it's not a huge bet either. So
Yeah.
if he doesn't have a descent, he's just going to call with a pair, and you're going to get some value. Otherwise,
Yeah.
if he raises as well, he's going to kind of turn his hand face up. So I think I like the small bet.
Okay. And there wasn't a huge amount in the pot either.
Yeah.
I think it's just
Yeah.
300. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I like it.
This is terrible.
You're definitely getting a slightly better combination. So here's that outlier case where I was talking about cycling an X-ray. X-ray for the is a helpful card. It's not a card that it's not as difficult to play as Disintegrate. But in a situation when you have a scanner and an engineer, if that X-ray was a reload or an upgrade, you'd have another bomb combo. So
Right.
these are situations, especially when you have 15 energy, where you're just going to be burning that X-ray just to give yourself that combo. It's like, one of the biggest adjustments I made when I first started playing was realizing that there are hands that in Texas Hold'em would always be playable that are almost unplayable without a good combination. So you should always so your primary goal is really not to accumulate chips. It's just to give yourself a combo so that you can accumulate chips at a later date.
Okay.
So yeah, just burn that baby. Just burn it.
And then I'm just gonna. Oh, I can check. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then just give up basically.
Yeah. And then right. So.
Yeah. Yeah, James is right. That was actually exactly my example. When you make a straight and then you bet and they disintegrate and call with bottom pair. That's exactly good. My examples are on point. But yeah, no. In this situation, I think that was the right play. That was appropriate, you guys.
Cool. And we've got an upgrade this time, which is.
I like the play too, James. I agree. Okay, and now you have a savage combo.
Yes.
Small blinds are difficult to play, though. To be fair.
Yeah.
Always in pretty much any game. I like the folds. Now let me talk about this combo that you have now. So do you remember?
Okay.
Do you remember earlier on when I was saying with 2 engineers you get to see a lot of cards to try and improve into that flush?
Yes.
The same applies here for scanner and engineer, because if in the event that you're looking for a specific card, you can play the scanner, and if you don't find it there, you can throw it away, and then you can play the engineer, in which case you get 5 shots at draws. But remember, this is a different kind of. Sorry.
No, that's right. Carry on.
But remember, in this case, because it's an upgrade and not a deploy, you have to have the kind of hand where you can put the made hand into your hand as opposed to putting it out on the board.
Right.
So you have to have 4 pieces of a flush draw, or you have to have 4 pieces of a straight draw, and you have to put it in your hand. Whereas before, all it was just finding that nice club and then just sticking it out on the river.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit more finesse to it, but hopefully we'll get a cool opportunity to try and see that. That would be great. Yeah, Mech Talk asks, where is George from?
Yeah, I was going to say, I am from Cardiff, even if I don't sound Welsh. But I was born in Hong Kong, so I'm half Welsh and I'm half Hong Kong Chinese.
Okay, Anuj, I'll see you later. You're half Welsh, half Hong Kong Chinese.
Yes,
oh, wow.
But I sound English, so it's confusing.
I was getting more of a Chinese vibe, to be honest. No, not really. My younger brother actually goes to university in Cardiff. He goes to University of Cardiff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice uni. It's a really nice uni.
Yeah, I need.
And I love the city. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to go visit him soon. Actually, keep saying I am, but he's probably watching now. Actually, just to rib me.
Have you never been before?
I've never been. No. He's been there for a year now as well, which is really bad because I said I would come down and party with him, but. Just in the process, yes. When you play scanner, you're the only ones that see it. Correct. The only card where you share the information is in the event that you have a engineer. Engineer is the one where you share all the card information.
Okay. I'm gonna fold, and then I'm gonna ask a question.
Okay.
So the blinds are kind of going up slowly and steady, and I've got a bit of a short stack. Are you just gonna play a lot wider or a lot tighter? I don't even know actually. I don't.
So with the combination that you have, I think you should be going absolutely fucking nuts, because okay, so in that last situation,
Okay.
in particular, you have a pair,
Yeah.
and you know that two pair is something you're not going to want to fold. So in that situation, you could have seen five cards to try and give yourself a set or two pair,
Right.
and then you could have just
Okay.
gone nuts with it, right?
Okay. So
So
it doesn't matter because of this basically it doesn't really matter because of this combination that I've got. I could do
yeah,
a lot with
you
it.
can do so much damage with that combination. I would be playing almost any two cards, and I'd be playing extremely aggressively.
Okay, so
Now
not just
now
checking it all the way down like I am right now.
well,
Okay.
okay, yeah, so in the hand where you had 6-7 there a second ago,
Yeah, yeah.
instead of limping in, I would have just put half my stack in and then gone from there, basically.
Right, okay.
But this is kind of the subtlety of the game, and against good regs, you can't always make those kinds of plays.
Okay.
But in this case, okay, sorry, you play the hand. I can't tell you.
No, that's fine. The thing is now is that I could raise, but if I go all in, I'm not going to be able to play any powers.
Correct.
Right. So I'm just gonna hope he checks.
But in that case, you could have made a raise that wasn't all in.
Yes.
I'm not suggesting that you should do that, but okay. So I'm not going to tell you what to do here, but on this kind of a flop, consider all of the opportunities that you have here,
Yes.
and just
I will.
imagine what cards would be cool for you here.
I will
Okay.
try.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I will try. Um,
Kid Carter, nice one. So George sounds Welsh and I sound Walsh. Very nice. Very well played.
oh dear, I'm running out of time. Hmm. That gives it to me, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I don't know if I want to check or bet or not.
Well, he can see
Oh,
he can see that you have the jack. He can see that
yes.
you have the jack, yeah.
Okay.
And now you're locking the board there, nice. Okay, so this is definitely something we need to talk about here. So, do you remember when I told you to imagine the cards that we
Yes.
give to you? It appeared that you were looking for a 10, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
But then diamonds would have been good as well.
exactly. So you need to expand your imagination a little bit with how far that could have
Yeah.
gone in that situation. So I can tell you just based on the play that happened right there,
Yes.
you could have given yourself a flush straight up without having any sweat. You could have given yourself a straight in some situations as well. This is a situation where seeing more board cards is better for you, because if
Okay.
another diamond comes, you have a flush draw.
Yeah.
And because he wasn't betting or anything like that, he's not forcing you to make any plays, so you might as well check and allow more cards to fall so you have more information about the
Okay.
texture of the
Okay.
board.
Yeah.
So sometimes, for example, the 10 just comes naturally, in which case
Yeah.
you haven't spent any energy, you've conserved your energy really effectively, and your hand is going to be super
Right.
disguised, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you ended up spending close to 15 points to give yourself a hand that was basically face up,
Yeah.
because you can see
Okay.
that you had the jack, which was also diamond, which means you're never going to get paid, so you spent a lot of energy to win very few chips.
Okay.
But if you had just checked back, there are other situations as well where on the turn, if he checks again, you can just bet as a bluff, knowing that a
Yeah.
diamond gives you a draw, knowing that a 10 gives you a draw, knowing that a
Yeah.
pair gives you two pair of draws, knowing that a pair gives you three of a kind draws. You've just got this monstrous combo, and you should wield it like a bluff
Okay.
before it's even before it should even be used.
Right. Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. Note for next time.
no problem at all. This is it takes a while to get your head wrapped around sort of what exactly a good turn looks like and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, always trying to imagine what happens on each street. This playing a lot of power up will almost, well, I will definitely make you a much better Texas Hold'em player. I can say that with
Oh
absolute
yeah.
certainty. Oh my gosh, it'll Like once you've played enough Power Up, you're gonna sit down at a Texas Hold'em table and be like, "This is so simple. This is the easiest game. This is the easiest game in the world,
ever.
for real."
Okay. Maybe should have bet bigger there, or just went all in. I don't know if he believes that I could have diamonds or not.
Did he just reload both of his cards?
I think so, yeah.
If you hover over the thing, there you go. It'll tell you.
Yeah,
Okay.
read yours
Okay.
too.
Cool.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. Another top tip.
And he folds. Cool.
Nice, good bluff. I didn't actually see the action. I was too busy talking, but.
That's cool.
But yeah, just keep an open mind, you know.
Yeah.
Just imagine all the, imagine.
You don't normally get a choice.
I know. You usually just got what you got. I get it.
Yeah, so it's kind of strange that you can just, you'd never be, well, okay, I was going to say something that was going to be very untrue. I was going to say you'd never be bad beat again, but then that's almost definitely not true.
You're going to get bad beat like you've never experienced before in ways that you can't even imagine. You can ask anybody who watches my stream. The bad beats I get are like cosmic jokes. The planets have to align for some of these bad beats to occur. It's pretty amazing.
Well, in one hand, the blind, I'm going to have two big blinds. Okay. I think I'm just going to go all in.
So sorry, we'll wait till this hand is done and then we can talk about it. This is quite an interesting point, though.
Okay. I couldn't stay away. I may have regged a table, says Justin. Oh, okay. Maybe I should have EMP'd first. Do I have enough energy for it? Oh, I do.
You did? Yeah, it's only three. It's only three cost. The Six of Hearts isn't a terrible card for you, though.
No.
Cool. You got live cards. Okay, cool. So this is actually a really good time to pause and actually talk about this spot.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had A7 of diamonds, you have a scanner, you have an EMP, you have an intel.
Yes.
Now, going all in pre-flop, I think is totally acceptable here, especially given the fact that he's so low on energy. So the lower people are in energy or the lower you are in energy, the closer it becomes to normal Texas Hold'em, where you would always shove that hand anyway, right?
Yeah. Okay.
The only thing that I would suggest you do differently in that spot is you're using the bet buttons to try and size your bets, but don't forget that you can bet down to the dollar.
Right, okay.
So in that example, what you could have done instead of just going straight all in is you could have bet like all but $1.
Right. Okay.
Okay, which is essentially an all in. So you're putting him under the exact equivalent amount of pressure to make a decision pre-flop as you would if you had shoved, but you're giving yourself the opportunity to play your scanner and your EMP post-flop.
Okay.
Now, in this case, it's not going to give you that much of an advantage, but in some cases, let's say that you flop a pair or you flop a flush draw, that scanner is going to give you an opportunity to see whether or not you're going to get there. And even if you don't get there with the scanner, by discarding those cards, it's actually going to slightly improve the likelihood that you get there the second time.
Okay.
Because there's fewer cards in the deck in order to hit the diamonds, right, or something like that. The other thing you could have done is played an EMP. I think I would prefer not to play the EMP if you're going to shove, because you'd like to use the EMP in a different spot. The other cool thing about not playing the EMP is even when he does find a 6 there with King 6, you're still in pretty good shape against that hand. You still have 2 overcards, you still have live cards, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But overall, I think there was definitely some cool lessons there.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Did you want to load up another one?
Yeah, we'll go get another one.
Cool.
Justin said he's regged one, so.
Okay.
Oh, he's not on our table though.
Monster Mun says he's seen people hit 3-outers on Nick about 100 times in a row. I think Art won 14 consecutive pre-flop all-ins. That was the count, I believe. Some of which we were 80% plus pre-flop. Yes, sorry guys, the delay is incorrect. It's about a minute on today's stream because we're trying to keep it friendly and keep it lively. I didn't change the Nightbot for this specific event, but But yeah, definitely some interesting lessons there. Another interesting spot that's similar to that, what we can talk about while this hand isn't on, is there are situations. Another interesting point is Power Up is very dissimilar to Texas Hold'em because being out of position can often be a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Whereas in Texas Hold'em, position is almost always preferable, right?
Yeah, I guess because in this situation, if you say we're in, it's just like small blind, big blind, you could check in the small blind, they could use a power in the big blind, but then because you've checked, you kind of get to go again.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so you can do the thing that we were talking about during the lecture as well, right? So they can be like, oh, I'm going to put an ace out there, I'm all in, and then you can be like, no, I think I'm going to put the ace in my hand instead, or something like that, which is a common one.
Yeah.
But also, it's a situation where you get to use your powers before your opponent does, which is why having a pick and grab with an EMP is so awesome. Yeah. Because if you can convince, if you're out of position, sorry, I play this hand first.
That's okay. I mean, I've got a nice.
You've got an awesome combo. That's a beautiful combo.
Yeah, I guess it's still pretty early days at the moment. I don't know if that makes any difference.
Well, sort of, yeah, to a degree.
I think because we've hit the queen, we're just gonna keep calling. And now they're gonna shove. Do you always see a shove after an EMP? Do you ever see...
for the most part, EMPs are always followed by a shove, because because it's the most, yeah.
I mean, unless they've got like an overpair or like trips, I don't know. I'm gonna call anyway.
Unlucky.
Queen 9. They have a better queen.
Unlucky.
Damn. Okay,
but in fairness, we've seen a lot of people do some crazy stuff in those situations with the EMP shove.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. What I was saying was, if you can convince your opponents to put in a bunch of chips pre-flop and you're first to act, and you've got one of those big combos I was talking about, what you can do is you can see what the flop comes down. You can decide what a good hand looks like. You can play an engineer. You can give yourself a strong hand, and then EMP and stop them from playing any of their points at all.
Right.
So there are situations where you might go all in but one chip from out of position, especially heads up.
Okay.
Which basically convinces them to put the maximum chips in, at which point you can then spend all your points, give yourself a nice hand, and then EMP and stop them from improving, and that's another one of those killer plays that feels really great.
Okay.
But yeah, just remember that you can bet amounts up to the dollar, so you don't always have to be betting within the sort of betting box parameters.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. We'll go again.
I think in that last hand, I don't know. At these stakes, you're never really sure. I think you could probably get away with a call there, but the way he played it was quite strong. So I don't know. It was in the other examples where you called people down, we weren't really sure what they were doing. In that spot, I think he probably can have some strength some of the time. You can have two pairs and stuff.
Yeah.
Or just Queen 9. I think he really overplayed Queen 9 there, but still got him paid.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure when I was playing some of the games off stream, I saw people using EMPs without going all in, just to like, or on like the flop or the turn. And I wasn't really sure why.
So I think for the most part, when people, especially players that kind of know what they're doing, when they make plays like that, they basically always have like the absolute nuts.
Right.
Because do you remember what I was saying about the reason why we lock boards is because we don't want our strong hands to be removed?
Yeah.
Some people have the sort of logic that if they play an EMP, instead of having to be go all in and force their opponent out, if they play an EMP and then make a normal size value bet, as long as they can get to the next street, that stops their hand from being destroyed, and then they can go all in on turns. There's also another weird combination that a lot of people kind of don't know about, but it's a bit difficult to execute. You could EMP the flop, and then they would call thinking that they could play powers on the next street, and then you could clone your EMP and then play another EMP on the turn.
Right.
The only, and that combo is amazing. The only problem is that anybody who's good at Power Up knows exactly what you're about to do whenever you make that play, because it's like the most obvious, right? But when it works, it's amazing. It feels awesome. I think we've got some clips of us doing that. But against a good reg, basically anytime you ever see somebody play EMP and then not go all in, it's like the most telling, like they have the absolute nuts. But maybe in the future the meta will be to do that as a bluff. I don't know, like against another reg.
Yeah.
It would work against me right now for sure.
Yeah. Well, I've got a full house. Thanks to this dude's
Oh, do you have another table open?
Oh, I do.
Sorry, you got you got to share it with us. There you go.
I didn't realize I wasn't
No,
sure.
you're okay. You're okay.
Yeah, I've got a full house here. So
Nice.
this guy deployed on the river. I don't know what he was, but he could see the cards, so I kind of don't know if he's got sevens full house, whereas we've got the eights. Oh. They're going to deploy it again. Oh my, right, 6, 5, 6.
Yeah, nice. So he must have improved into a straight or something. Nice hand.
Oh, thank you.
The only comment I have there is so just because he deployed on the river doesn't mean that he still can't destroy your full house with the 8.
Right.
So
okay.
even though again you're not going to get burned that often, that was a situation where if let's say he deployed himself trip 7s.
Yeah.
And then check thinking it was okay. If you start betting like for huge value, he can still destroy your 8 and then have trips which beat your pair.
Okay.
So by not locking the board, you are opening yourself up to being disintegrated on that river even after he plays a deploy.
Okay, so it would have been better just going all in.
Potentially. I only saw half the hand, so I didn't really know exactly.
Sorry,
No, it's okay. That's okay. It's not a problem. But I was if we had seen more, we can make some guesses about whether or not that's a card he'd be worried about. Because in certain situations you go, well, if he had to disintegrate, he definitely would have played it by now. So then you can make value bets where you would have shoved to usually lock against a situation where you're not sure.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, just checking in with the team.
Oh wow. This is nice for us.
Hey Hart Jow, how you doing, man? Welcome. It's all about the levels. That's right, baby. It's all about the levels. Gypsy Boy.
Oh, see the 2, please.
Gypsy Boy, that's kind of a complex question. It depends what kind of quality settings you're looking to have. A lot of that comes down to internet quality, though. We have lots of people who stream for OP Poker, or they stream as friends of OP Poker with very, very, very modest laptops. In fact, one of our longstanding members, his name is Sebastian Grind here on Twitch. He streams on a small laptop, and he's using like mobile Wi-Fi from his phone as he tours around Brazil, paying for his trip, playing only Power Up. Believe it or not.
Really, he's actually paying for his trip by playing Power Up.
Well, so
wow.
I don't like to go into too many details to try and protect people, but there are many people who are making pretty good money playing only Power Up, and certainly enough to travel around Brazil. I think Brazil probably is slightly cheaper than London though somehow.
Yeah, probably just a little bit.
Could be wrong though. Let me know if I'm wrong there. But yes, no. It depends what you want. For us, I'm running like a pretty badass gamer PC, which can handle it pretty well. I've also got like really expensive internet as well because we stream a lot. It's kind of what we do full time. So here's another cool spot.
Yes.
I like the look.
So we've got we've got a pair now. Then we've got the open and straight, and we've got some deploys, we've got some engineers, and we've got an X-ray as well. So this guy's, I guess this is an effective all-in, like you were talking about before.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you think he's indicating to you when he does like all but one like that, or all but 50?
He wants to use he wants to use his power cards
That's
after
right.
we call. So I don't really want to waste my power cards, I guess, if he's just gonna overwrite that afterwards.
And you also have somebody to act behind you as well.
Yes, but I think we're okay to call with our open-ended. The five, please.
A five would definitely be nice for us. But you still have some options on the river as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't look like one of your straight cards are going to be removed here.
Okay. Hmm. Oh, okay.
So he's going to play. So he cloned his engineer. He's going to play another one. Two of Hearts is an
Right.
interesting card.
Would be great for us. And he goes for the king still and then folds.
And then
Right,
folds. Okay. Okay.
So we don't have to worry, I guess, too much about him. But then this guy is gonna, what, use his powers and then go all in, or just
Oh, he just
check?
checks. Okay. Interesting.
I'm kind of not sure what to think of the just check. Because using my powers, I would only get 50 more chips off of him, potentially. So I don't really know if it's worth. And I feel like if he'd had something, he would bet.
Okay. So okay. You're like your mind is going completely to the right places because conservation of energy is extremely important, right?
Right. Okay.
But in this situation, it's not that you're trying to win an extra 50 chips. It's that you're trying to win all the other chips that have already gone into the pot because there's a chunk in there.
Oh yeah.
So there's like
Sure.
1,800 in there.
Yeah,
And if
that's
he
true.
has
Okay.
ace five, if he has king five, if he have queen, he has you outkicked all over the place if he just has a five. If he has a king, he's going to slow down some of the time like he just did in that situation.
Yeah.
So just engineer and try and find that straight,
Okay.
but then don't put him in for the extra 50.
Right. Okay.
So just engineer yourself the straight, put it out there, and then just check and don't allow him to try and remove anything with his powers, and don't allow him to improve into full houses and stuff like that, right?
Okay, because if I then raised after that,
Right.
then he would still have another option to go. So if we just call afterwards, then he
And
can't
then
do
check,
anything.
yeah.
Right.
And
Okay, that makes sense.
your head is totally in the right place. You're thinking along the right lines, but you have to remember that you're fighting for what's in the middle, just like normal Texas Hold'em, as much as you're fighting for what they have behind.
Yeah.
I quite like your call actually when he bets 450 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
First of all, because like he's betting about half pot, so you've already got a pretty good price to draw.
Yeah.
And then you also have 3 more shots at hitting that straight with your engineer and your deploy as well. So it's pretty monstrously. I think it's pretty about a mile into a call. The only wild card is the guy behind you.
Yes.
But in the event that he decides to go all in, you can still engineer and deploy yourself a straight and then be all in as well.
Yeah.
Because with the deploy, you can put it out there and then move all in and lock the board, just like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I think that was a really interesting spot to find today. That was a good one. You're going to be on a laptop during your travels, Rishi. Paciencia, how you doing? Welcome. Anyone need technical help, then there's a good community of us in the Discord. #Discord. Well played, Richie. Very nice. Yeah, Gypsy Boy, if you go ahead and join our Discord, we are all about helping people getting streaming, especially if you're interested in streaming Power Up, but that's obviously not a requirement. So yeah, hit us up on there. We can help you with all that stuff. There's lots and lots of tricks with OBS and streaming in general that can help you to improve your stream quality, etc., without giving away too much cash, or investing too much cash, I should say.
Okay, so I can pretty much just, this guy hasn't got a huge amount of energy, and I've got a really good combo and a decent hand, so I guess we try and punish them for that.
That's right. Yeah. You're using the right terminology. That's what I like to see.
I'm
Um,
picking up the lingo.
the only thing I'd say here, which shouldn't influence this hand, is you have an okay combo,
Yeah.
but engineer deploy is somewhat limiting. Engineer reload, engineer upgrade is about 100 times better.
Right. Okay.
So always be looking to get that golden triumvirate, the golden triad.
Okay.
Pick, grab, EMP. That's all you need all the time.
Oh, it's a king. But he knows I have an ace.
I think I like that. I really like the bet. I know that he can see that you have the ace, but you want to
Yeah.
charge him if he has some kind of a draw like king 10 or king jack, right?
So maybe bet a bit more.
Yeah,
next
I
time.
would bet a bit more, but also the other important thing is he has 3 energy and not 4, so you shouldn't be afraid of being disintegrated in that situation either, because he doesn't have
Okay.
enough to actually play the disintegrate.
Okay.
That is a nice flop.
Yeah, it's a very nice one for us.
So is this game number 5?
I think it is. I think we're 2 and 2.
All right, nice. That's a really good way to be. Okay, one of the 5s gets removed.
Which is fine.
That's not the end of the world.
No, and I guess it says so that it's something that he's not worried about the ace
Sure,
in a way.
sure.
Um, So this is where I'm kind of not really sure.
I'm so interested to see what you do here. I'm so interested.
I'm kind of not really sure what I should do because I could still deploy and reload and engineer on the river, right? And it's
Yep,
200 just to see the next card.
right.
So if I check now, he does whatever he does. He can't use anything because he's only got 1 energy. So, and I've got like, if I,
Okay, so now think about what order you want to play your cards in here.
yeah, I'm gonna try without losing all my time bank. So I could deploy and then I could still engineer. Well, no, I can't engineer because there's no more cards on the board, right? So I could engineer and then either reload or deploy depending on what I see, I guess. And I don't like any of them, and I'm running out of time. And I've got 0 time bank.
Oh, click on back. Click on back.
Oh, so wait, so how quickly? Okay.
So you
Next.
you get a 20-second time back every game. Okay, so I want to talk about something that you said during that bit there. You said
Yeah.
I can't engineer because there's no more cards.
Oh wait, but I had the deploy, so I could, and then yeah, I think I was getting myself confused.
That's okay. That's okay. So the correct order in that case would have been deploy first,
Right.
then engineer, and then reload the card to give you 2 pair or better.
Right.
Because
Okay.
because when you deploy, you're giving yourself additional opportunities to improve into 2 pair and 3 of a kinds and straights and all that stuff, right?
Yes.
So let's say, for example, you deployed a 6 there. You'd have a gut shot to go along with your pair and your 2 pair draw and your 3 of a kind draw and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's say you deployed trips. You wouldn't have to do anything. It's an easy. All you have to do is call. Let's say you deployed 2 pairs straight up. All you'd have to do is call.
Yeah.
So it's always the case that seeing more information gives you a greater
First.
opportunity. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So always,
Okay.
wherever possible, always sort of try and give yourself a better shot. You almost had it. You said it out loud, and I was nodding furiously. I was like, "That's right. She's got it. She's got it."
I mean, I've got a nice hold'em hand.
Yeah, aces. No, aces are a great hand in Power Up too. You just have to be a little bit cautious sometimes.
Yeah.
Come on, man, get involved. He's all in. He's all in. He's all in. Yes, you're getting the action. Yes, double.
Like, I can't
Double,
hold it.
double. Hold. Oh, it's pretty hard to fold once the 4 comes. It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to not hold.
Nice.
Nice hand. Very good.
All right, we're back in it.
Yeah, but the sort of engineer upgrade, engineer reload hands are a little bit tricky to get your head around.
Yeah.
But once I swear, once you've got it like sort of got it in your head how what kind of stuff you're looking for,
Yeah.
it becomes a lot easier. It's just it's not a skill that you need in Texas Hold'em normally, is it? It's not a skill that
No.
it's not a skill that Texas Hold'em demands in any way, shape, or form. So it took me absolutely ages. Most of the time, I was making huge mistakes on stream. When I first started streaming, I was making like catastrophic failure, like catastrophic. Nick, you could have given yourself a straight, but you threw away the straight situations.
Right. Okay, so I've got a potential flush,
Yes.
maybe. I guess we deploy and see if we can hit a diamond. Nope. Then I can still reload my card, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay, well that's still better than I had before. Oh, don't have any time back. I should have bet bigger.
Nice. You
Oh,
you
cool.
did exactly the right thing there. The only no, actually, I like I like the whole line. I was gonna say I don't like the bet on the river, but actually now I think about it, I like the bet on the river. So,
You don't think I should have bet bigger? I was just worried because I was going to time out again.
Leave it with me. I'm not sure. I need to think about it. I need to think about it a little bit. But no, I really like it.
Okay. I mean, do I just put him all in? Because
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, I mean he's got less than a pot size bet left.
yeah.
You don't want any weird hands on the turn getting lucky.
No, he hasn't got a huge amount of energy either, so I guess.
Predator, how you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. Yes, we've got to love the hype, of course. Come on, take him to the clean airs. Hit it. Awesome. You're progressing very, very well. Doing a great job, George.
Cool, thank you.
Do you prefer George or Georgina?
George. Most people call me George.
Okay.
Everyone IRL.
Interesting spot here.
I mean, I guess he's gonna scan it.
I mean, we're not really too worried about what he does here, but
No.
what haven't we done when we bet 400 here?
I didn't EMP.
We haven't
Or-
locked the board, have we?
No.
So okay, let's say he has a disintegrate.
Right.
All he has to do, because you didn't go all in, is disintegrate the 7, and he's got the best hand. He's got you crushed.
Okay, but so how? Okay,
So
no, that makes sense.
So in order to lock the board in that case, you have to like overbet pot or over like
Yeah.
you make it like
Yeah.
10 times pot or whatever to lock the board, and then guarantee yourself the guarantee yourself that you have a pair.
Yeah.
So it worked out fine, no problem. But
Yeah.
just be aware whenever the board is not locked, that kind of stuff
Yeah.
can get destroyed, and that's one of the common mistakes.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why I thought this, because now I'm thinking it through in my head. It doesn't make any sense. But I thought if I didn't go all in, I could still use my cards. But then I bet more than he had, so that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly right. No, and
Either calling
exactly. And that's another common one as well. Is people get caught up in the hand, and then they start playing EMPs, but their opponents have 0 points, so they don't even. You're like, do you know what I'm saying? I did that loads. I did that loads before I learned. In fact, there's probably still clips of it. But always be cognizant of locking the board. Always be cognizant of how much energy they have, how much energy you have, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So did you want to play one more, and then we can have a quick chat afterwards?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Cool.
I'll register one more now. Richie Bob says, "Okay, Georgina, it is then."
Exactly. She's like, yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm easy, no sweat. But secretly, she's like, if he calls me Georgina one more time.
Well, I mean, I get called Georgina at work because I guess it's like a bit more formal there. But most of my friends just call me George.
Predator, please try and get on one of these tables.
Do it. We can have a stream of Al.
Yeah, we can.
If it was me, Predator, and Justin all on the same table, I don't know
Oh,
how.
baby. Well, I mean, actually, if that's something you
I don't
guys are
know how-
interested in doing, I can speak to PokerStars and get some like get the devs to organize that kind of thing in the future. Like your own private table. We can make a whole Twitch event out of it. I'll do the commentation.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That-
I'd be
that-
up for it. I don't know about the guys in the chat.
That's well, yeah, Predator and or well, hopefully Predator and Justin. If you'd like to be involved with a PokerStars led event, let me know. Obviously, no promises, guys. I need to speak to the guys at Stars, but I know they're really keen. They're really keen to see more power up on Twitch, as are we at OP Poker. And I know that we do have the capability of setting up our own private games, and not private games like home games. I mean like dedicated tables that only you guys can see in your clients, the kind of ones that they use when they're doing
Okay.
the kind of stuff. Yeah. So like whenever we do the streams with Lex or Spraggy or any of those guys, they like set up in like sort of they set up tables that only we can see, like that are like tagged to our account.
Yeah.
And that's how we run the events where we do like the split hold'em. We did the split hold'em stream. That was the 6-max stream. And all that jazz. But yeah, I mean, we're growing a nice little community here, guys. I might even invite you guys to take part in my 6-man camera thing I mentioned earlier on.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
I think-
And Predator says that would be sick as well, so I think he's in.
All right, Predator. Well, I'm sorry you're not invited, Predator. Sorry about that.
And this guy's gone all in twice now with just his entire stack. I don't
Yeah,
know
I mean, some
read anything into that.
there's this really weird phenomena that lots of the regs have seen. We really often get new players come to the table and then not spend any powers, not even once. And I don't know if they don't know when they're supposed to do the powers, or they've like accidentally regged for a power up on accident or what, but they go for the entire game and they don't play a power for the entire game, and you're like, mate, are you okay? Is everything okay in your life right now? Do you need a friend right now?
Or they just thought this was a really odd looking spin and go kind of thing.
Just in the process, what are the chances of that happening? P.S. Does Power Up show how many people are playing at the time? No, it does not currently, because it is a relatively low player base, so they didn't want to give anyone an advantage. What are the chances of what happening, Justin? The dedicated three-man stream, or the chances of getting on a table with DW Stevie with GJReggie? Already in the Discord, nice. Hey, Malaysian Caucasian, my man, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Okay, we are currently being hosted by PokerStars, in fact.
Cool.
So yeah, shout out to the guys at Stars. I think it's probably an auto host, I imagine, but also shout out to everyone who's got us on the auto host. Sebastian Grind, Tony Warriors, Predator, GJReggie, Sebastian Grind, PokerStars, Fernando Afonso, Mark95, all you guys, I love you. Thank you very much for your support. There you go. GJReggie already on the PokerStars Twitch. Rising star in the Twitch world. Yeah, by the way, guys, sorry if whenever we do these streams, I usually like to have a little bit of background music on, but I didn't actually have time to get any copyright-free stuff sorted, so I didn't want to add any music that would get us whatever spotted on YouTube or whatever. I'm not fussed about the Twitch one, but the YouTube one is a little bit more strict, and they'll flag us or whatever, so it's probably not worthwhile. And they just like blanket ban all of your audio, which isn't great.
No, that doesn't sound great.
So yeah.
Good job, Reggie, says Kelly Minkin. Yeah, that's GJ is actually just my initials. I know a lot of people have mistaken it for good job, but yeah, my full name is actually Georgina James, so GJ are my initials.
It's too bad it's not Georgina George. So it could be GJReggie, because that would be like the most awesome poker screen name of all time. I mean,
yeah, that would be pretty funny.
I mean, I don't know. I think obviously GJReggie works as well, but it sounds like you're congratulating yourself.
Yeah, good job, me.
Whenever me and James used to try and make up new user nicknames, we'd always just try and think of the thing that would tilt us the most if we lost a big pot to that person. James, do you have any of your old like wind up screen names like on the Euro sites? What were they? Do you have any funny ones? None of the rude ones though. He had some really bad ones. Richie Rob, good job, Reggie. I'm gonna tell your workmates that.
It's funny you mentioned them because I tried to get them to watch the stream today. But they and I promised them that if they did come and watch the stream and said something in chat that would make me aware of their presence, that I'd do shots for them on the stream. But I haven't seen them, so they clearly don't want to see me hungover at work tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, you're filling in for your boss right now as well, so they're like, we really need her on point. No, absolutely no cool. Just in the process, the server thing is a real possibility. It would just take a little bit more. I mean, it's just a case of organization. Really, those guys, it's not too hard for them to set up. And I know that that's one of the things that they said they would definitely support us with if we wanted to do some events like that. Maybe we could do some sort of like community event where all of the streamers that stream some Power Up, even if it's just a little bit, maybe we can get some money added and we'll do like some shootouts together or something like that. Again, no promises. That's not. I'm speaking with the voice of OP Poker and not with the voice of Stars there, but I know that that's something that they said was relatively easy to organize. But I think we'd be willing to put up some prizes if you guys wanted to do some Power Up shootouts in the future once you've had a bit more practice.
No.
Predator, I know you can just get normal YouTube music. What I mean is, I didn't have a chance to actually get any music to play live here on stream. I'm not going to add it to the video as well. It's no big deal. But next time I'll find that. Malaysian Caucasian asks, what and when does George usually normally stream? Excuse me.
Oh, so I normally stream microstakes, so microstakes sit and goes.
Boom.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw what happened in the hand before there.
No, I didn't. I missed that one. Sorry, I was looking at the chat.
I lost a straight to a flush.
Oh, unlucky.
And yeah, Intel deployed on the river to hit the straight, and then I got bust to a flush. All in.
Tell his internet real name. What kind of an idiot would do that? Haha. But he's making fun of himself because his own screen name is his real name.
Hard. Damn it.
Unlucky.
So yeah, I didn't actually finish telling Malaysian Caucasian. Yeah, so I stream really microstakes, 25-cent, 50-cent sit and goes, and the occasional 55-cent MTT and $1.10 MTT in the evenings. Because I work 9 to 5 on daily basis, you'll usually find me streaming in the evenings on the weekdays, Mondays, today, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't stream on a Wednesday because I have a dance class, and then on weekends as well. But next week, I've got the entire week off work. I booked it off on annual leave, so I'll be streaming for hopefully 9 days straight from this Saturday to the following Sunday. So yeah, I'll be online hopefully for like just most of the day. So yeah.
you guys can harass her for 24 hours a day. It's gonna be great. Just in the process, going back to what you were saying, mate, the likelihood of all three of us getting on the same table is actually quite high. I would say it's much higher. There's a better chance at the higher stakes where there's a little bit less traffic, but that's a real possibility. But yeah, guys, don't let me forget about that. About the event setup. I definitely like to try and challenge Stars to put on something like that. I think that could be good if we make enough events about it, and you guys can publicize that within your own channels as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But that'd be super fun. Okay, should we do? Okay, tell you what, should we do one more and then we'll have a quick chat and we'll wrap it up?
Yeah, sounds good. I don't know. Do the guys in the chat want to try and reg this one more now?
Yeah.
I don't know if they want to do that. I haven't clicked anything yet.
Well,
So
we've got about a minute delay, so we got to let him catch up. All right, so guys, if you can confirm as and when you hear us say this, so just in the chat say confirm, and we'll reg at the same time as you. So as you say confirm, start regging then, and then we'll reg and we'll try and get on the same table, and we'll see if we can do a little bit of an early face-off here.
okay, so when they say confirm,
Yeah.
I click reg.
Right. Yeah. So
Right,
just have or like a couple seconds after, because it's gonna take them a while to get it open, I imagine.
Okay, no. And we'll see.
We'll see if we can do it.
it.
Second ever sub to this channel. Admittedly, the first sub was to Twitch Prime about 7 months ago. LMAO. That's right. I forgot about that. Thanks for the caster nightbot, you Jim. All right, guys. But yeah, I mean, I think that could be a really fun little thing to do. There are going to be some other power up events happening, some more sort of official-ish power up events happening in the future that we can't really talk about just yet.
Sure.
But if anybody out there is enjoying the stream, if you guys think that power up is something that you might be interested in, if you'd like to try, if you'd like to be involved with the community at large, I suggest you start practicing now, because hopefully within the next couple months there's going to be some interesting things happening, and you're going to want to be practiced up for it. And I think now is the time. Now is the time to start honing your skills. That's all I'm going to say on the topic. But yeah, I think that Georgina has the right idea here. She's getting in early. Ooh. Okay, confirm.
They said confirm. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
in,
Yeah.
but-
25 cents. 25 cents. Oh, actually, can you type that in the chat? Do you have it open there?
Yeah, 25%.
Hey, Pieface Poker, my fucking man. How you doing? Welcome to the stream, buddy. Just a quick hello, doing work? Yeah, of course. Working hard or hardly working, Pieface Poker? All right, cool. Good job. Here we go. Oh!
I got Predator, but I got Predator and Tony.
Yeah, you got them both. Good job. Okay, guys, no stream sniping, all right? No stream sniping. We've only got a minute delay. I don't want any funny business, right? Let's keep it friendly.
Oh, we can use the chat. Is there any smack talk like you're going down?
No. In fact, all the smack talk is extremely subtle. So if for example you were losing the whole way and then you engineer yourself like a straight flush, you always say hello.
Right. Okay.
So if you like bluff your whole stack off and then on the river you give yourself like a royal with one card, you're like hello.
Okay, so we're gonna go through the chat meta now.
Yeah. Chat meta is important.
Okay, so.
Well, first of all, bet size. What the hell is this?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't.
I'm just kidding. It's fine. Second of all, yeah. Good luck never means good luck. No one ever uses good luck. That's not ironic.
Okay. And then what are the other things? Hello, good luck, thanks, well played. Wow. What does the wow actually say?
Go ahead and click it.
Oh right. Okay.
I think that's only ever used to basically tell somebody that they're a complete luck box, basically.
Okay. Oh dear. Well, now I feel like I have to win because of these two guys. Now I really want to win.
But okay, I have to say that Tony has a lot of experience playing power ups. It's kind of unfair. He has an unfair advantage here.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna click all of these. Oh wait, I can't tap chat. Oh. Oh dear. Oh, it just says I'm sorry. Okay.
Predator says that he wants to show all. He's down to show all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, sounds good.
So as much as possible, I guess.
I can see myself forgetting everything I've learned now just because of this one table.
That's okay. It's okay. It takes a while to settle in. There's so much to get used to in Power Up, which is kind of what makes it interesting, you know?
Yeah.
It's what, especially if you've spent a lot of your life playing normal Texas Hold'em, it just adds an element. It adds elements that you've never even considered, and it definitely makes you a better Hold'em player and a better Omaha player. So it's worthwhile for anybody out there that's just looking to have some fun as well.
What does mistake say? Okay, so it's not the most
Yeah.
imaginative.
No. And usually that one that's probably the most honest one that you use.
Okay, like a genuine misclick kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thing,
So
and
like
then
when you obviously meant to type 250 but you end up betting 2,500.
right.
And then their opponent's like, "What are you doing?" And then you're like, "That was a mistake. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. That was a mistake." Oh, actually, the only other time that you do that is when your opponent gives themselves what is clearly two pair, and then you start firing, and that was a mistake. That was a mistake. That was a mistake, and then you show them the flush.
Right, right.
There's just so much to learn. That's why I didn't want to get into the whole chat box meta thing.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
just a whole nother level of poker. Ooh, slowing down.
Well, he gave himself an ace, so I was kind of thinking, try to get rid of that. He's gonna go all in? What?
So he tried to give himself an ace, and then he bet.
Yeah, and then I got rid of the
Ah, okay.
ace.
So he made one of the beginner mistakes, right? I mean, I don't know what he has now, but
And no, I don't know what he has now either, unless it's like I don't want to fold because it's him.
it's what
Which is a terrible,
just do what you got to do. You got 20 seconds to decide.
which is a terrible thing to terrible to
Oh, the
say.
luck box. How
What?
does he do that to you? How does he two out you like that? Yeah, there, he did it. He did it right. He put hello. He put the hello. That's how you use the hello.
Wait,
Oh
we
my
can watch the rest
god.
of this table out,
What
can't
a
we?
luck box. He two outs you. He two outs you on the river. Absolutely savage. Wrecking for the stream. I can't even believe it. All right, Predator, you're not invited, mate. You're off the list. You're off the list, my man.
Well, we can see who wins
Okay,
between
yeah.
Tony and Predator in the
Yeah,
chat now.
let's see you takes this one down and then
Oh dear. If it was anyone else, maybe I would have folded. But I just can't do it.
well, okay, but it's a situation where
Yeah.
not a lot of hands make sense in that situation unless he has like king
Yeah.
four or
Yeah,
pocket
yeah.
fours. So I guess
Oh, is that it? He's just won.
Oh, that's it. And just like that, he won the first official Power Up Streamer World Championship. Good job, Predator. I hope you're
Damn.
proud of yourself.
Oh dear.
Good work.
Cool.
All right, cool. Well, that was, I think that went well. Did you enjoy your lesson? Did I go on too much? Was it boring?
No, it was good. It was good fun. Yeah, I think there were some people in chat who were saying they didn't never realize how quickly you talk.
Yeah, I
But
get that
yeah,
a
no,
lot.
it was
I
good.
get
It
that a
was
lot.
good.
I do apologize, guys, if I'm talking too quickly. I got a lot of ideas and I struggle to get them out sometimes, so they come out kind of fast.
No,
But
it's
guys,
cool. I think I learned a lot. So yeah, it's good. I'll definitely be playing some more, trying to play a bit more on stream, and yeah, maybe I'll have to get my own back on Predator.
you definitely will. I'll try and organize that so you can do it live on Twitch and you can embarrass them next time. Okay.
I'll try.
Okay. Guys, I do apologize if I was talking a little bit quickly. I do have a tendency to do that. But for those of you that want to go back, or you haven't seen the beginning, or you'd like to go back and rewatch what we were talking about at the beginning when I was doing my little lesson, don't forget we're going to be putting all of this on YouTube. So it's all going to end up on YouTube at some point. And then probably on the YouTube as well, we're going to do some timestamps as well. So if you ever want to just jump back and make reference to specific parts of the lesson, or you'd like to just go over the slides or anything like that, make sure that you get involved and go and subscribe on our YouTube channel. There's links to all of this in the panels beneath my face. Definitely go and check it out. But I think in the future we're gonna try and do more of these. I don't know if we're gonna. We can probably do some more with GJReggie. We could make this like a regular thing maybe, and we can see how she progresses. I'd also like to get some of the other potential power up streamers involved as well. I'd like to maybe Predator, maybe just in the process as well, and have some talks about how they play. One of the things that I find really interesting about Power Up is that it's a game of styles, which is weird because Texas Hold'em has some sort of styles, but not to the degree that Power Up has styles. What do I mean by
Right.
styles? It's a little bit difficult to explain if you're not a player, but there are certain characteristics of the way people play that they bring through from their Texas Hold'em poker
Sure.
And so I think we saw a little bit of that with you, but I imagine if we did the exact same lessons with Predator, he would probably have a very different
Yeah.
methodology or a different slant or a different attack to certain situations.
Yeah, I guess it's the same as like when you've got people who are really aggro, who three bet a lot, who or it was just super passive play,
Yeah.
super tight. I guess it's the same similar-ish kind of
It's
thing.
very similar, but I mean I think it also has to do with the games that they normally play as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
if for example you were coming from a background where you were playing like a lot more like hyper turbos or maybe some
Yeah.
heads up sit and goes,
Yeah.
you would already have a lot of preconceived ideas about how you should treat hands pre flop and post flop.
Right, yeah, sure.
But so based on your play, it seems pretty apparent that you do play like nine handed sit and goes or nine handed tournaments and stuff like that, which is not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. It's just fascinating how the mind tries to adapt, and I think I would love to try and see some more of those dynamics from Predator and from those guys as well. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be
Yeah.
cool, for sure.
Okay. So before we wrap up, then. Pie face poker, you will be awful. We're all awful when we start, but that's why it's fun, man. That's why it's fun. Give it a shot. Lawyer John, how you doing? Welcome. Pro power up player. Rep an ace with the pocket fours and then pray for the river. That's exactly what you do, my man. I actually really like your play with the fours now that I think about it. It's pretty cool. Luckbox confirmed. Confirmed Luckbox, of course. Okay, cool. So before we wrap up, do you have any questions, GJReggie? Is there anything else that you wanted to clarify before we wrap up the stream here today?
No, I don't think so. Not at the moment.
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah, I will digest and ask more questions on stream next time.
All right,
I guess.
that's great. I mean, there's a lot of digestion, and probably just there's like so much experience. There's so much to do with the experience. Just like when you make a lot of these common mistakes, eventually you're like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm so sick of like making that mistake, and then it just corrects itself. It took me longer than
Yeah,
anyone
sure.
else. James picked up this game really quickly, actually, and so did my friend Curtis.
Right.
And they were just like beating me up about how slowly I was to pick it up. So I had to learn the hard way as well. But yeah. Okay, cool. Well, in that case, I'm gonna wrap up the stream, you guys. Thank you so much to our fantastic friend and streamer GJReggie. If you haven't done so already, make sure you go and check her out. Her screen name is GJReggie. You can right click in the chat if you'd like to see more of her. Go and check out that stream, and of course, go and hit up any of the other people that are supporting the channel here today. We got lots of people who are hosting us. Pie Face Poker is great. Tony is great. Justin is great. Everybody's great. Go and follow everybody and just make it totally worthwhile. Those are just the people that at the top. Oh, of course, hit up Rishi Rob as well because he's a fantastic human being too. That's gonna be all from us here at OP Poker, guys. It was great to see all you here today. If you enjoyed this, make sure you give it a thumbs up and all that stuff on YouTube. And as I said, make sure you go and subscribe where appropriate so we can do more of these. I think that this is something that people are going to enjoy watching. So let us know what you think in the comments and all that jazz if you're on YouTube. Or leave your comments here on Twitch as well because it's going to be in VOD form very shortly. Also, guys, before we wrap up the stream here today, I'd like to mention a couple things about OP Poker specifically. Don't forget that OP Poker is now officially partnered with PokerStars, which means that our Discord channel is now the official Power Up community. So if you'd like to learn more about the game that we are playing here today, and if you'd like to learn more about how to build yourself a bankroll like I have been in my bankroll challenges, which recently came to a conclusion, make sure you go and hit us up on the Discord channel. And then, where applicable, follow on Twitter, follow on Instagram, follow on YouTube, subscribe, like, all that jazz. Do all that stuff because it helps support our channel. The first of many, I hope. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Richie. You're very welcome, Justin. The process, not a problem. It's lovely to meet your digital acquaintance. But guys, that's all from me. So I'm gonna say goodbye for now. Say goodbye. All right,
Bye.
we're off. Ciao for now, guys. See you later. Thanks for joining us tonight. Bye.
See you.